Good morning, guys. Welcome back to, or I don't know what time it is where you are, but hello. Welcome back to my YouTube podcast thing. I've really just come to the conclusion now that I don't really care that I normally post fun videos on this channel because I'm just surrendering to the fact that the world is the way it is. And there's not much more I can do than just talk to the camera. And you know what? People like this, okay? I know it's not as exciting as a trip to Hawaii or something like that, but the world just isn't calling for that right now. So I'm surrendering to this. And if you're listening to this, I'm also posting this on YouTube. I'm gonna be posting these on YouTube. So enjoy. This is what you get. A lot of exciting things going on. Nonetheless, I feel I've got my iPad Pro here. I just whipped it out, which, by the way, to this day, well, in the last previous year, this is probably the best investment I've made for creativity and just, the stuff that I like in general. I mean, this Apple Pencil is amazing. You can draw all this cool stuff. If you're in Maxi, you will have seen that I have created new icons, and I drew them on this iPad. And how cool is this? If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry, but I drew these on the iPad, and it's like actually dope. I put them in Maxi. I can show you that as well right now. Look how cool this is. You load up Maxi, and there are the icons, and you can click on them. So dope. So that's something I'm really excited about. Anyway, I've got a few other, little notes I wanted to share, but the main thing we're here to do is ask Arlin. So I'm gonna pull those up, and as I jog my memory about what I actually wanted to talk to you about, because I just went, So I just went on a morning walk, and that's something that I definitely enjoy doing pretty much every day. I went on a morning walk, no workout with Lou today, just a rest day. And I got a dark chocolate mocha. Oh, so good. And I'm definitely, I go through phases. I don't need coffee, but sometimes I just really enjoy it. And I went through like a 30-day no caffeine phase, and I don't know, today I wanted a coffee, so I got a coffee. I know it's not really good for you, if you really look at the science and stuff behind it. I mean, think about it. Anything that you consume that gives you an immediate high is just probably not good for you. Now, for whatever reason, this dark chocolate mocha, I've just kind of been noting my energy levels, and it doesn't really affect me. There's no crash. Maybe it's just more of the dark chocolateness. Maybe the oat milk is good. I don't know. Anyway, point is, coffee, I've been drinking it a little bit, sometimes. Whatever. Okay. Everything in moderation, right? Not everything. Don't do coke. Don't do heroin. Or do. I don't know. Anyway. So I'm on my walk, and I saw this like circle of people doing yoga on the beach. Out by like Venice Beach. And by the way, Venice Beach, Santa Monica, all of the like West Coast beaches are massive. Like they are like, it takes you 5 minutes to go from the bike path where the beach starts to the ocean. It's like such a huge beach. Anyway, there's a massive group, probably like 50 people in a circle doing yoga. And I walked by them on the way to get my coffee, and on the way back, I kind of sat down. I had my book, which I can't find right now. I have my book, The 80-20 Principle, or 80-20 Your Life. It's just a book that I pretty much carry with me everywhere at this point and poke in and out of. And I'm kind of, by the way, I got my whiteboard right here. I might pull that up later. I got my book. I'm sitting down doing a little, I like the energy of like people going by on the bike path and people sitting on the beach doing yoga. And then I look up and I'm taking some notes and meditating a little, and I see this woman just so unconscious on her cell phone. Actually, I heard her first, and she's just screaming into her phone, like probably 50 yards away from the people doing yoga. She's like in the phone. She's like, you idiot, you fuck. She's like screaming at someone. And I look up and I'm like, huh, wow. And I almost wanted to say something to her, but I think she was to the point of insanity. Cause I didn't care. I operate in like a mode of like presence and happiness most of my day. So like things just don't bother me that much. But I was just looking up and I was like, huh, let's observe this. So I just kind of like observing her. And I just noted, I was kind of looking back and forth between her and these peaceful people doing yoga. And I was like, huh, wow, look at the pain body in this woman. If you've read Eckhart Tolle, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, you're probably like, what is that? The pain body is just like an unconscious energy force that can at some point take over a lot of us. And it can manifest in different ways. Sometimes it can manifest in anger, which is what it seemed to be doing with this poor lady. And yeah, it was just interesting to observe. So she ended up kind of walking away. Sometimes when I see this, I do this kind of weird thing. I sort of just like, this is one of the most woo-woo things I probably do. I'll just like look at her and I'll just kind of think like, I just like hope she figures this out. I hope she, experiences some kind of awakening or something from this pain or anger or whatever she's in. And, I was doing that and then nothing, I guess as I was kind of doing that and observing her, she did kind of just like hang up and walk away, which was kind of an interesting thing. Anyway, I just wanted to share that little tidbit from my morning, and I don't know. It was just like an interesting little thing. Anyway, let's go into Ask Arlin because we have a bunch of questions to answer today. And after this, I'm going to go hang out with Felix. I might get him on this episode or on another one. And yeah, let's see. Okay, so our first question is coming in from AJ. AJ Venezia. AJ asks, procrastination, time management, excuses, social anxiety, awkwardness, anti-present momentness as a result. Okay, so these are problems that you're dealing with and you want solutions. Okay, AJ. So procrastination, time management, excuses, social anxiety, awkwardness. All right, honestly, we've talked a lot about these topics over the past several episodes, but there's no reason I can't take another angle for you, AJ, and just in the way that you asked this question. So anti-present momentness as a result of procrastination, time management, excuses, social anxiety, awkwardness. Okay, so it's kind of funny. It feels like the answer to all these questions is kind of the same, which is essentially, AJ, I would highly encourage you to start meditating if you don't already. And however much you're meditating, I would recommend doubling it or going up to as much as 30 minutes to an hour in the morning and 30 minutes to an hour at night. Like bare minimum, 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes at night. And what this will do is the main source of the problem here is anti-present momentness. Like you are procrastinating because you're not able to accept and enjoy each moment. If you can sit in a chair and do nothing and enjoy that for 30 minutes to start your day, everything else is going to be a lot more enjoyable. And that type of energy, that type of flow will just leak into the rest of your day. So long story short, AJ, meditation is going to solve a ton of your problems. And if you're religious and you're listening, you're like, oh, I don't want to meditate, then just pray or just sit and do nothing. I think meditation can be, not cliche, but a lot of people can misinterpret it and think like, oh, it has to be this formal practice. Like, no, just sit in a chair and do nothing. And that's it. That's what you're going to do. So highly recommend that. For you, AJ. All right, next question comes in from Beckham. Beckham asks, what is the best way to practice visualizing your goals and turning self-doubt into a strong belief in yourself? So the best way to visualize, I think there's many different methods of visualization. To be honest, in my experience, there is no better, one is not better than the other. As long as you're focusing, as long as your attention is somewhere around the realm of what you want in life, it's gonna guide you there. As long as you're doing some kind of practice, you're gonna be in the place that you want to be, which is pretty cool in my opinion. And so that's kind of exciting in my eyes. Like that's like all you have to do is just put your focus on what you want and your mind and your actions, and as long as you're focused on like end result, you're gonna get there. You're gonna find a path that takes you there. And however, Beckham, my favorite method is called the PLAT method, P-L-A-I-T. You can read more about this in any works by Vadim Zealand, who wrote Reality Transurfing, and he also wrote Tufti, the High Priestess, which is probably one of my favorite like manifestation visualization books. Tufti, the High Priestess, really short, as opposed to Reality Transurfing, which is insanely long. And so in this method, the PLAT method, what Vadim Zealand says to do is to picture yourself from behind. So almost like you're playing third person in a video game, and you just close your eyes and you picture yourself from behind, and you picture yourself doing whatever it is that you dream of doing. And so for example, like I've been visualizing and kind of, I guess, one of the things that I'm wanting to do is I'd like to live, at some point, I'd like to live in the Hollywood Hills. So I just, from behind, picture myself kind of, getting up out of bed, looking out, seeing, a view of the hills, seeing my pool, seeing my hot tub, and, going into my nice, beautiful bathroom. But I'm seeing myself do this as if I'm playing a video game. And I go down to the kitchen and then outside and then maybe dive into the pool, get out, maybe sit in the hot tub. Maybe I have like a personal assistant delivering a coffee from my favorite coffee spot. Maybe I get out of the hot tub and sit down and journal. And anyway, that's the whole process. That's it. I'm just visualizing myself doing something, and I might do this, a few times a week. Okay. So this is, at least for me, is it's worked really well, especially for like, I don't know. I just really like living situations. Like I like what I'm in right now is something I certainly visualized, like a tall ceiling apartment with a fireplace and, a beautiful view off the back porch over there, or off the front porch over there, and then like an amazing rooftop with a nice view and sunsets and stuff like that. So, yeah, this is certainly something I'd like. It also can work for like driving cars. Like picture yourself in the back seat of yourself driving a really cool car. That's fun to do. Yeah, so I think all those methods I would recommend trying them out, Beckham. Okay, next question comes in from our friend Wing. Oh, Growing Pains. Okay. Oh, you put your podcast. Sorry, shout out Growing Pains Podcast. Shout out to you guys. We are a new podcast wondering the best ways to grow your brand and stay true to yourself in an oversaturated market that is dominated by trends, influencers, and fads. Okay, so I just don't like the term or really believe in oversaturated market. Like social media is a non-zero sum game. There's no like if people watch me, it doesn't mean that they can't also watch you. I guess in some cases, if people only have their morning commute to listen to a podcast, then in some way we could be competitors. But there's an unlimited amount of people. There's 8 billion people that could listen to you. So my recommendation to the Growing Pains podcast and anyone out there who has some kind of platform or is trying to grow some kind of personal brand is just be unapologetically you and talk about the things that you would share with close friends. Talk about all the things that make you a little bit weird. Talk about, the specific types of problems that you're dealing with and get as specific as possible, because you are super unique and each one of us is super unique. And you're going to find an audience that resonates with as strange as the person as you are. Like me, for example, I talk about, Vadim Zealand, reality. Like that's a select few people that are into that kind of stuff and open to that. There's not too many people that are super into, look at the views of this show. And it's not to say that, these views can't go up, but I'm obviously understanding that I have a much wider audience for a certain type of content I make. Like when I, hang out with friends or go traveling somewhere or, have like pretty girls in the show or in the episode. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, well, I just want to be me 100%. And I want to talk about what excites me. And from that, as long as you let that shine through, you're going to build an audience over time. But the thing is, Growing Pains podcast and anyone else who has a show they're just starting out or something like that, a brand they're just starting, it takes fucking time. Like what you're watching right now is 7 years, 6-7 years in the making, or even longer. Like, and understand too, I don't even have that many listeners on this podcast. Like, yeah, sure, I've got the subscriber count, but like, I'm not starting from scratch, obviously, because I have a pretty wide depth of audience that I can kind of tap into, email lists, Instagram, Snapchat, right? But like the newer style of content that I'm making, like this is, I mean, I've made this in the past, but not all the time. Now I'm making it every day. So it's like things are changing, and I understand that. And like, I know that I can grow this to a point where there's 100,000 monthly listeners or more, or 100,000 listeners per episode, right? I know I can get there. I just understand that even that might take a year or 2, 3, 4 years to get to that. So I have to be consistent with this content if I'm serious about it, and so do you. Like, it took me, I mean, I think anyone who's in college has that hack of using college in the name. I mean, for me, like, massive hack being able to put Boston University in my titles and thumbnails. Why? Because there's hundreds of thousands of kids in high school every year applying to colleges, looking at Boston University, wondering what college is like, and they're already searching that content. But you don't need hundreds of thousands of people, by the way. You only need 1,000. You only need like 1,000. And when you realize, like, if you can just get 1,000 people who really like you for you, then when they really, really like you and you give them the attention they deserve, if they like you so much, they're willing to spend just $100 a year on you, well, then you can make a full-time income, $100,000 a year. And that was really eye-opening for me. So Growing Pain podcast, last thing I'll leave you with is I'd recommend you check out 1,000 True Fans. It's an article by, I believe, Kevin Kelly. And I actually made another podcast, if I remember, I'll link it in the description, about 1,000 True Fans and about this concept in general. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. Okay. Next question comes in from George Liu. George asks, as a freshman in college, what are some steps I need to take besides obtaining a degree to become successful, have a prosperous yet enjoyable career, and most importantly, have a balanced social life in C-word times? Okay, let me just read this one again because it's kind of long. Okay. As a freshman in college, what are some steps I need to take besides obtaining a degree to become successful, have a prosperous yet enjoyable career, and most importantly, have a balanced social life? Yeah, okay. There's one book I'm going to recommend for you, and it is this. It's called 80-20 Your Life by Richard Kosh. You can see it's all like tattered. It's not from use, actually. I just dropped it in the ocean in Oahu because I ate shit and I fell and I dropped it in the ocean, but I kind of like it. It feels like I've used it more than I have. But this is the book I was talking about earlier, and I mark it up a ton. And so I recommend this book because it's going to show you the few things in your life that actually matter to you. And I'd also recommend, in addition to reading that, I'd recommend reading The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss and spending $13 a month to join Maxi, because Maxi will put you in a community of like-minded people who are all pursuing a life that they actually love and care about and dream of. And it also, in addition to like putting you in that environment, it teaches you how to use your mind to expand your consciousness, to become increasingly aware, and to literally, using Maxi as a tool literally is a process to make your dreams actually happen. And it's done amazing things for people. And I obviously, I can't hype up Maxi enough. It's amazing. So yeah, I would do those things. And when you read those two specific books, you'll have a completely different understanding of life. I wish I read those books every day. My freshman year, I didn't, but I wish I did. I'd be a lot closer to my dreams than even that I got to. But yeah, and then I would also recommend anything by Eckhart Tolle and just becoming an Eckhart Tolle fanatic. It'll make you a lot happier of a person. So, yeah, I mean, and then the other thing I would say is take all your money, like get a job and take all your money and just funnel it back into yourself. A lot of people are like, will ask me like, Arlin, are you into stocks? Are you into investing? And I'm like, yeah, I'm into investing. I'm into stocks. But the only stock that I recommend investing in is yourself, okay? And that's only up until you figure out how to generate $100,000 of your own, and then you can get into, investing into other people's companies. But when you think about it, like when you put money into some stock, you're investing it into people who run that stock. So the way I've started to understand it is like when I put money into something, I want it to be into me because I'm a stock. So I want to grow me. And I have, full control and discipline over me. And that's at least most fun. And so invest it into yourself, invest it into what you're excited about. And as far as the social life stuff goes, it's obviously tough right now, but I think what I'd recommend doing is just like really taking this time to build yourself because, you can network your way to the top, right? Or you can become the person that people want to network with. And that's kind of what I've been focusing on a lot. Like in the past, I've always been super extroverted and I've been the guy who's had cool friends. But now I'm really focused on being the guy that people want to know. And of course I was that in the past as well, like with the YouTube channel and everything, but like now I'm much more focused on I'm the main event, right? And it's my party and like people are wanting to know me in the room, right? Like if you throw the party, you don't have to introduce yourself to anyone. If you get invited to cool parties, that's great, but then you have to like figure out who's the alpha and like figure out, who's this and who's that. But like if you throw the party, then everyone's introducing themselves to you. So take this time to build yourself up. If I were 18 again, I would seriously take what I'm saying and do it. I would read 4-Hour Work Week. I would read 80-20 Your Life by Richard Kosh. And I would actually 4-Hour Work Week, I literally slept with for the first 2 to 3 months of 2020. And I'm not kidding. It was in my bed. That's how much I wanted it in my brain. And I wish I did that sooner. Okay, next one comes from Ryan. Ryan Tabrizi. How he changed his life and mindset to have the discipline and will to live a self-improvement lifestyle. I guess you're asking me, Arlin, how did you change your life? How did I change my life and mindset to have the discipline and will to live a self-improvement lifestyle? Well, I think the first most important thing that I did was I came to grips with the pain and suffering that I had gone through I guess growing up and especially toward the mid to late teen years, and I finally woke up to that. As a lot of I went through a lot of negative thinking patterns and insomnia and symptoms of depression, and as soon as I was able to sit with myself and get past the fear of simply just sitting in a chair and allowing my thoughts to do whatever, as soon as I did that, I was able to transcend, wake up, and fully realize, and through reading self-development books, learn how to use my mind to basically become happier. Once I realized that you can do that and that you can just read and learn from other people to really get what you want in life, that's what motivated me to just go on this binge of reading and self-development, because I realized, you can just read a book and they tell you what to do, and then you can make as much money as you want, you can be as happy as you want, you can figure out how to meet people and get them to like you. As soon as I realized that works, I was like, well, how is there any other way to live? Why would you go through it blindly? Read and be, I don't know, it's kind of self-explanatory at this point. It's I can read a book and they tell me what to do and then I get what I want. Amazing. Let me read all the books I can. I read probably close to I don't know, a book every 2 weeks at this point. Although I have some that like I just got like 4 books on Audible for this month, so probably like a book a week. And at this point, they're kind of repetitive, but like I'm always listening for like a new nugget or something like that. Sometimes I'll reread. But yeah, I mean, like I said, 4-Hour Work Week and this book and Power of Now are just some that are just, for me, above the rest. So yeah, all right. I hope that answer was good for you, Ryan. All right, George Comus asked about self-discipline. Now, this is another thing that I think, we need to look at the definition of discipline. But for me, at least the mainstream idea when I think of discipline is like Jocko, like discipline, wake up at 4 a.m. and do it. And my life methodology is a lot different than that. I think Jocko is amazing. I think there is definitely benefit to points in your life where you go super hard on like the discipline idea. But for me, I don't really like the whole concept because I've structured my life so that I'm doing what I like to do. And if in the past when I had, not the ideal day to be able to wake up and kind of like choose what I want, like let's say I had my job or I had school, I at least learned to accept each moment, okay? And when you can practice meditation and practice acceptance of like each moment, even if it's not exactly what you want to be doing, that leads you down a path of not really even having to worry about discipline, because to me, like discipline means you have to control yourself to like a high degree. But like if you love what you do in each moment, if you can at least accept what you do in each moment, then there's no need to like have so much control over and like grunt work of like do this. Like in my eyes, it's perfect when you can I like Epicurus because Epicurus was very I want to say hedonistic but also effective. Like you can wake up to no alarm. You can go have an amazing brainstorming session like I did this morning and come up with an idea while enjoying the entire process that could potentially change thousands, hundreds of thousands of people's lives. And I didn't have to wake up at 4 a.m. to fucking do that. Like I woke up at 8:30 a.m. this morning. I had like 8 hours of sleep last night, 9 hours of sleep. 8.5 probably. It's like, I don't know, there's a disconnect for me in the sense of like, why overstress and overexert yourself? Eustress is good. I think it is good to push yourself, obviously, but there's also a balance of like, okay, well, why don't you just like enjoy each moment, practice presence, practice acceptance, practice enjoying each moment, and then from there you're in a perfect position to, I guess, have breakthroughs, to love what you do. And so that's how I have started to perceive life and enjoy life. Okay, next question comes in from Jake. Jake asks, do you think it is important to get your personal life/mind in check before pursuing your business and financial goals, or can they be done simultaneously? Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends what you mean by, do you think it's important to get your personal life or mind in check? I mean, okay, here's how I view it. Like, my health, my energy, my body is number one. Like, if I feel tired, if I feel, even a little bit out of sorts, like maybe even like a little stuffy nose or like, I don't know, whatever, any symptoms I feel, I immediately handle my health first. Like if I'm tired, and I learned this in college actually, because there was so much more shit that I had to do that I didn't want to do. I learned that the best thing that I could do if I woke up on like a Saturday and I was tired is just sleep more, or, meditate. And then if you're super tired or whatever, sleep until you have your rest, okay? And then once you have your rest, go to the gym. And then once you go to the gym and, you meditate and you eat healthy, then, from that state is when you can optimally produce. So I make sure that my body, my mind, and I guess my personal life are 100% in check. And then, and only then, do I really do business stuff. Like this podcast, for example. I woke up, and sometimes I like to record this first thing when I wake up, but I was like, no, I gotta wake up, I gotta like stretch out, I gotta go on a walk, get some vitamin D in. And that's what I did this morning. And now I feel so much better. You know, it's recording this is so much easier because I've had that like personal time, that self, mind, body, spirit kind of time, right? So, I guess that's how I'd recommend doing it. Now, I guess like, can they be done simultaneously? Yeah, I mean, they obviously can. Like, it's all an upward spiral. This is a concept I talk a lot about in my mentoring group. So I have a private mentoring group. It's like my own personal mastermind, which if you've asked a question on this podcast, you can inquire about it with the coach that you end up talking to. And this concept, the upward spiral, is something I talk about a lot, where if you're improving your business, if you're making more money, then you can actually take that money and reinvest it back into yourself even more. So for example, one major transition I did this year, which is subtle but also pretty important, is I went from spending money at Trader Joe's, which, nothing wrong with Trader Joe's, great prices, but I went from spending money at Trader Joe's to spending money at Erewhon. Erewhon is like the freshest ingredients that you can find, highest quality meat, highest quality vegetables, super fresh. And so I started spending money there because I wanted to, it's like reinvesting the money back into me. Like I want even better energy levels. I want even pure, like you probably even might be able to tell, like I have so much energy in this podcast and like my energy is like super dialed in. And I think a lot of that has to do with how I've been treating my body. I pay my personal trainer a good amount every month. And this just like this upward spiral, it's like the more money you make in your business, the more money you're able to kind of up your spending in, paying a trainer, paying for higher quality ingredients. Now, I would say though, just to say, you don't need a personal trainer. You don't need to spend, more money on like the organic stuff, right? But the way I look at it is like, the differences may be marginal. Like I would say like an 8 out of 10 in terms of my healthiness, just shopping at Trader Joe's. But now it's like, to get to that 9 out of 10, I get the highest quality, freshest ingredients, right? So my point is, I'm in a stage of like micro adjustments matter. But you can still get like high quality ingredients and you can upgrade no matter where you are on the ladder. Like let's say you are in a phase where you're trying to save money on groceries, but like maybe instead of buying, a lot of cosmic brownies and chocolate, instead your shift is instead from that kind of food to high quality, or higher quality, and not even focus on quality, just like greens, grass-fed meat and sourdough bread. That's kind of like my diet, avocados, right? So, I guess like bringing it back to the main point here, Jake, you can definitely pursue both at the same time. And I think it's good to kind of have that understanding in mind that like the more money, the more, your fitness improves, the more, this is where I go with the upward spiral. Like the more money I make, the more healthier I can be. The healthier I can be, the more money I can make because I'm more focused throughout the day. I have more energy. And the more energy, more time, the better vibes I give off. Like this all compounds and goes upward, as opposed to a downward spiral, right? Where if you're feeling a downward spiral, what you're doing is you're taking your life energy, you're investing it into cosmic brownies, chocolate, sugar. That makes you go down, and then your business suffers because you aren't able to focus as much, and because you can't focus as much, you make less money, then it's just going down and down and down. Okay. So upward spiral, that's a concept that I talk about quite a bit. All right. So next question comes in from Connor Bright. What's up, Connor? Good to hear from you. You are a Maxi Pro member. 21 years old from Ottawa, Canada. Starting my career as a powerline technician. Main goal is to be elite in my trade. Yeah, so those of you guys who don't know, I didn't really know about this until I spoke to Connor on a Maxi Pro webinar. But Connor's a power line technician. So if you've ever seen people on top of power lines that are like doing all that work, especially during storms, they like keep the power on, that's what Connor does. I think it's pretty badass. So he wants to be top in his field. And this is actually a really well-paying job as well. So he wants to be so good that he can take time off to travel all over the world. One video posted. I live an exciting life and definitely know there's lots of potential for content. So, you didn't really ask a question. Starting my career as a power line technician. I guess your question is like how to be better. Okay, so here's what I would recommend for you, Connor, is understand that in each job, in each field, this goes for anybody who's listening who has a job or is looking to get a job. Understand that the top performers in your field as a power line technician or whatever it is that you do are the top 20% of earners are earning probably 80% more than the bottom 80% of performers. So what I would look at is what are the key skill sets and key things that get those top 20% people where they are? And how can you adopt those skills, habits, routines, or maybe it's connections, right? So think about the 80-20 rule. Read this book, and 80-20 Your Life, Richard Kosh, and just consume it and think about how can I apply the 80-20 rule to being a top tier power line technician? And really think like, what are the few skills and what are the few details about being a power line technician that makes a power line technician, so much more money and able to travel and live this lifestyle, and then focus all of your energy on just doing those few things. That's what I recommend. Okay. Cool. All right, next question comes in from Luksha. How to get over fear of posting on social media, self-promotion, releasing music. Oh, I already answered this one. Okay. Great. That's it. Oh, that's it for today's episode. Cool. All right, well, if you want to be on the show, go to mindsetdesign.com/askarlin, and maybe in the next episode, I'll use my big whiteboard actually and draw you guys some pictures. But right now, I'm gonna cap it off. Maybe go shoot an episode with Felix, we'll see. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, repost it on your story. And also DM me the word podcast and let me know your thoughts. If you want to be on the show, mindsetdesign.com/askarlin, and have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.